We're going to talk about the Joe Louis Greenway. So it is a bike path, walking path that's being developed to connect some of the other communities around and in the city of Detroit. Just give us an update as to what the Joe Louis Greenway is, who it's for, when it's happening.
The Joe Louis Greenway is a 27.5 mile biking and walking trail that will connect communities as far as Detroit's riverfront, southeast in the city, to Hamtramck, Highland Park, and even Dearborn. So it's basically a loop that goes around and allowing people to bike and walk through different parts of the metro area. It's really all about getting more green space in the city, more places for people to travel by bike without necessarily having to worry about car traffic, and just places for people to walk and ways to connect different city neighborhoods.
Where are we at as far as the actual build out of the Greenway, and also where is it being built out from? I know there's some sort of connection to like things like the DeQuinder cut.
Yeah, so good questions. One of the plans is to extend the DeQuinder cut from where it currently ends at Mac, and taking it to East Grand Boulevard across from I-94. And that's really a way to connect it to Hamtramck. Right now, currently, they've already begun construction in Southwest Detroit, over kind of in the Gordie Howe Bridge area that they are constructing. So that's where construction has begun so far.
I think that really touches on the city's goal of, becoming a city of the future, creating the places and spaces where people actually want to, spend their time and making it all very easy to navigate. So with that said, you mentioned that it's going to connect Detroit to Hamtramck. What else will the Greenway be connecting the city to? How far out and how interconnected, I guess, are we going to be?
Yeah, so along with Hamtramck, there will also be connections to and through Highland Park, and then when you get in the west side of the city, it'll connect to Dearborn. So
Oh.
different communities. It's not going to connect, all the way out, to some of the further Metro Detroit suburbs, but the ones that kind of border inside the city and next to the city are going to be the ones that the Greenway is impacting. And actually, they just launched a neighborhood planning study all around, making sure that the areas in the Greenway that are going to be impacted, the neighborhoods that will be impacted by construction and the final product, kind of get a say in what's going to happen, and kind of understand what changes might be coming to their neighborhood, what opportunities might be coming to their neighborhood, and things to just be looking out for the next few years.
Because you're mentioning the neighborhoods, one of the interesting things that I saw was something about a signage program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So I was at a meeting a couple weeks ago, and they talked about this neighborhood signage program, which is all about making sure that cyclists and walkers know where they're at, and kind of know a little bit of the history and culture of the neighborhoods they're in. So the first neighborhood that they're starting this in is the Midwest neighborhood, which is in the city's District 6 on the west side. And it'll be between, I want to say, Warren and Joy Road, are where the signs are going to be posted up. So the idea is basically, if you're biking through a neighborhood, you can look at the sign and kind of get a sense of the neighborhood you're in, and kind of understand that history. So, one of the big concerns a lot of people in Detroit have had, in general, is that their neighborhoods, that history, that culture is kind of being erased or being displaced. So this signage program is really about honoring those people and the people that made the neighborhoods what they are today.
Because we're talking about the people, and that's really who this is all for. What has been the response of Detroiters hearing about this project going on? Are people on board? I know usually there's a little bit of pushback or concern about whether or not the residents' voices are going to be heard, whether their ideas are going to be included, whether their needs are going to be met. Have you seen any friction, I guess, in this process?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. A lot of the times when I cover things, where residents are allowed to give feedback, you hear a lot of pushback against design ideas, or you hear a lot of concerns about maybe a design idea or plan. So far, there's really been two things of note. First is that there's a lot of residents, particularly in the McDougal Hunt, Poletown East-ish area of the city that when I asked them about the DeQuinder Cut extension plan, they had never heard of it. They say no one from the city had talked to them about it. But very interestingly, when I actually talked about what the plan is and why they want to do it, just about everyone was on board. Like very overwhelmingly supportive of the idea, very overwhelmingly in favor of the Greenway in general. The expansion of the DeQuinder Cut, likes the idea of going into these neighborhoods and making sure people know where they are and what that neighborhood is all about.